Hello everyone. Hope you all are keeping well. So as promised, I am back with part 2 of my video Domestic Violence Against Women. If perchance any of you have not watched my first video on this and are interested, I have included the link in the comments box below. Today I will be talking about the relevant legal provisions and protections for the women victims of domestic violence under the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. Basically, this act is a law to make homes safe for women so that they can live a life free from violence. Forms of abuse or violence. This act recognizes forms of abuse against women in the home, be it physical abuse, sexual abuse, economic abuse, verbal and emotional abuse. Since a single yardstick cannot be applied to determine an act of domestic violence against women, I will therefore tell you broadly about various forms of violence. Let us start with physical abuse. Physical abuse means any act or conduct which causes bodily pain, harm, or danger to life, limb, or impair the health of the victim and include assaults, criminal intimidation, and criminal force. Apart from this, physical injury is the visual form of domestic violence and includes slapping, pushing, kicking, biting, hitting, shaking, or beating, etc. What about economic abuse? Economic abuse means neglecting to maintain a wife, not giving her required money for her maintenance, throwing her out of the house, not returning her dowry, istridhan, etc. If the husband does not pay regular maintenance to his wife or abandons the wife, then it would amount to domestic violence under this act. So now, what is verbal and emotional abuse? Verbal and emotional abuse includes name calling, abusing, humiliation, as well as insults and ridicule, especially with regard to not having a child or not having a male child or she not good looking or threatening that she will not be provided any money for her or her children's maintenance. There is also psychological abuse which causes irreparable damage to the woman. The psychological abuse affects high rates of anxiety and depression. Due to psychological abuse, women live in constant fear. Here, the main question arises, what should a woman do if she has decided to proceed for legal action against domestic violence? In such eventuality, if a woman decides to move out from her husband's house, I would say it is highly advisable that a woman must take with her children all her belongings and valuables, her vital documents like education certificate, caste certificate, marriage certificate, and also a copy of her husband's bank passbook, bank statements, contract of employment, etc. It is important to note that the proof of her husband's income should be attached along with her application if particularly she is seeking an order of maintenance under this act. For legal resolution, the woman can contact the police station, crime cell, protection officer, a legal aid lawyer, or a private lawyer, or a local NGO to help her in approaching the court against domestic violence. If the woman is injured, then she can first go to the hospital for treatment, and the hospital in turn will help her to reach the police or the protection officer of the area. Legal application. An application regarding domestic violence can be presented to the magistrate clearly seeking one or more reliefs available under the Act. For example, protection, maintenance, monetary relief, compensation, residence, custody of child, etc. Importantly, the woman must collect all accessible evidence before leaving or filing the complaint to support her statements. This could include medical reports of injuries, earlier complaints to police, etc. The Act has further authorized the magistrate to direct the respondent to return possessions of agreed person, her citizen, or any other property or valuable security to which the woman is entitled to. Women need to be informed about the above steps, procedures, formalities, precautions so that the women are fully aware of their legal rights and protections available to them against domestic violence. So, now you may ask, what does the terms agreed person and respondent mean? Agreed person means any person who is or has been in a domestic relationship with the respondent and who alleges to have been subjected to any act of domestic violence by the respondent. Respondent means any adult male person who is or has been in a domestic relationship with the agreed person and against whom the agreed person has sought any relief under this Act. Against whom the woman can file a complaint. Is it only her husband, or can she file it against other family members too if she had been harassed by them? The answer is very simple. Under such a situation, a woman can obtain orders against her husband, father-in-law, brother-in-law, etc. She can also obtain orders against her female relatives of husband, such as mother-in-law or sister-in-law, if they cause domestic violence to the woman. On the whole, the Act is a path-breaking step and provides relief to the women victims of domestic violence. Proceedings to be held in camera. If the magistrate considers that the circumstances of the case so warrants, and if either party to the proceedings so desires, the magistrate may conduct the proceedings under Section 16 of the Act in camera. Rights or remedies. Now, one of the most important things the women need to know when they ultimately decide to go the long way is their rights or remedies that they can seek under this Act. Let me talk about these now. Right to protection order. Section 18 of the Act. If there is threat of violence, the woman can get an order of protection restraining the husband and her family members from committing any act of violence on her. The police in charge may be directed to implement the magistrate's order. Further, the protection officer gives all kinds of support to the woman victim, including helping her to approach the court. protection officer also maintains a list of service providers providing legal aid, shelter home, medical facilities, counseling, etc. The protection officer is supposed to help and give timely relief to the woman victim. For instance, if there is a monetary relief order, then the protection officer has to ensure that this monetary relief order is promptly executed. In all, the protection officer is supposed to act as a friend and well-wisher for the woman victim. Right to reside in a shared household. Section 17 of the Act provides a right to a woman to reside in the matrimonial or shared household whether or not she has any right title or beneficial interest in the same. This right is secured by a residence order which is passed by the court. Another right is right to residence. Residence order under section 19 of the Act. The magistrate is empowered to pass a residence order. What does this provide? This provides that while processing the legal application, if the magistrate is satisfied that domestic violence has taken place, may pass a residence order. This means that the woman victim will have the right to reside therein. Right to shelter home. Section 6 of the Act. This means that under this Act, women may also seek to obtain the facility of shelter home. Another right available is of medical facilities. Under Section 7, if an aggrieved person requests the person in charge of the medical facility to provide any medical aid to her, then such person in charge of the medical facility shall provide medical aid to the aggrieved person in the medical facility. Monetary reliefs. Section 20 of the Act. The monetary reliefs may be necessitated on account of loss due to incurrence of medical expenses, on account of loss due to destruction or removal of property. Accordingly, the magistrate may direct the husband to pay the monetary relief to meet the expenses of the woman victim. Further, when a woman claims maintenance, then as per law, the quantum of relief shall be fair, reasonable, and consistent with the standard of living to which the woman victim is accustomed to. The magistrate can order a lump sum amount also. One more important right is right to custody of child. Under Section 21 of the Act, Custody Order, the magistrate can grant temporary custody of any child or children to the woman victim. The magistrate can also refuse the visit of child's father if it is determined to be harmful to the interest of the child. If any child is taken away forcibly from her custody, then she can approach the police or the court to get her child back. Another right is to claim compensation, Section 22 of the Act. If the woman victim has suffered any harm or injury due to domestic violence, she has a right to claim compensation for it under the Act. Compensation can also be paid to the woman victim for the injuries including mental torture and emotional distress. Power to grant interim and ex parte orders. Section 23 of the Act. If the magistrate is satisfied that an application clearly discloses that the respondent has committed an act of domestic violence or there is likelihood of such violence, the magistrate may grant ex parte interim order against the respondent such as protection order, residence order, custody order, compensatory orders, etc. as per the circumstances of the case. Court provides copies of order free of cost. Section 24 of the Act. The magistrate shall, in all cases where she or he has passed any order under this Act, shall order that a copy of such order shall be given free of cost to the parties of this application. Penalty for breach of protection order by respondent. Under Section 31, violation of any clause of this Act can result in imprisonment up to 1 year or a fine of rupees 20,000 or both. This Act allows the police to arrest an accused and also act as protection officer to pursue the case with a magistrate. As per Section 32 of the Act, the offence under this Act is cognizable and non-bailable. With all these, any of you may still like to know about the efficacy of the law in reality. So benefit you fully, I have decided to create a separate video to help you focus and understand better. Therefore, in my next upcoming video, I will talk accordingly in detail about the efficacy of the law and the related pragmatic suggestions. So please stay tuned. Take care. See you again soon. Thanks to all.